Welcome back to Elbow off the Top. My name's Adam. Today we're going to be looking at our preview for the AFL 2021 Grand Final. Can you feel it? Can you sense it? It is finally here after another very long, unexpected, ever-changing, crazy season that was 2021, followed up by 2020, of course, beforehand. We are here at the final game of the year. The Bulldogs versus the Demons, two Melbourne teams once again in a grand final away from the MCG. Huge game, and I'm going to go through my big preview for this match up. We're going to go through what I think is going to be the keys to each team getting the win, getting the little advantage, how each team stacks up against each other, and a few bits and pieces in there as well. So let's get into it straight away with the matchup as it stands. Now, first of all, before we go any further, I honestly think that we have got the two best teams from this season in the grand final. Melbourne and the Bulldogs were the most consistently good teams across the entire season. Melbourne, obviously, as you can see, 2020 ladder finishing the top of the pile. The Dogs slumping down to the 5th spot, just outside the 4, after a few late losses in the season, which cost them that top 4 spot. However, sometimes the Doggies need that back to the wall, and they're best when they are in that position. Let's have a look. 2021 win-loss draw. So Melbourne had 17 wins, 4 losses, and a draw versus the Bulldogs. You can see 15-7. Now, they were pretty much matched head-to-head for a long time. It was the Bullies and the Demons who were, vying for that the top 2 positions. But yeah, a little bit of some injuries and bits and pieces, and Bulldogs slipped out of that top 4, which everyone counted them out, but they have come before you know it. All right, premierships. Melbourne has got 12, but of course, it's been, it's just, I guess you could say or ask Melbourne supporters, just a little bit of time between drinks, just a little bit of time. The Bullies only have the 2, but of course, the last one was in 2016, a few years ago when they created the fairy tale finish. Our captains, Maxi Gawn versus Marcus Bontempelli, both pile very, very well. Very important players to the team. The coaches are Simon Goodwood for the D's and, of course, Luke Beveridge for the Bulldogs. I think these two coaches are going to have massive, massive impacts in the game. And of all their players this season, the 2021 All-Australians, we have 5 players making the All-Australian team for the Demons and 3 for the Bulldogs. But I'm going to go back to the coaches for a second because I want to talk about the coaches and how important this is. Simon Goodwin has turned this Melbourne team around since arriving in 2019. I think he was there. And he has changed the entire work ethic of that football club to get them to the point where they are now vying for the big prize. So congratulations, Simon Goodwin. He was also announced as the Coach of the Year by the Players Association. So congratulations to Simon Goodwin for getting their team there. And no matter what happens at the end of today, I know the Demon supporters are going to be throwing their full support behind Goodwin in the future as well. Luke Beveridge, however, of course, is already a premiership coach. He trained. He was the mentor. His mentor underneath Clarko, the great Alistair Clarkson from the Hawthorn Hawks. Now having a little bit of time off, and then eventually probably will come back and find a spot somewhere in a team. I don't think there's any team who would probably say no to Alistair Clarkson coaching their football club, unless you're the Hawks, apparently. And Luke Beveridge knows how to get that done. Luke Beveridge is a phenomenal coach, and I honestly think that he could very well have some massive tricks up his sleeves to deal with some of the big guns happening in the Melbourne Football Club arsenal. But let's get to the big matchup. What I think is the big key, that is in the middle. We've got the best 4 middle players in the comp versus probably, I think, the best depth of the midfield of the entire comp. Let's start with the Demons. Look at those 4 names. Just look at those 4 names. You've got Maxi Gawn, who is the premier ruckman in the AFL. He is number 1, All-Australian, multiple times, has been there for a long, long time, captain of the club, support of the club, all-round top bloke, and you just have to assume that he's going to win most of the tap-outs on for tonight's game. Then you've got 2 absolute stars who are playing the best they have ever played, Glenn Oliver and Christian Petrarca. These guys, I found out from the Brownlow, that they used to play under 12s together. So think about that amount of chemistry, growing up together, understanding each other's game styles, having that game time together. You can see why they work so well in the centre, because they've been playing together forever. Add into that, of course, the second generation Jack Viney, and that I would say is the best four midfield in the comp. After those four players, they drop off a little bit. The next tier sort of midfielders aren't as good, I would say, but they are, without a doubt, I think the best midfielder in the comp at this second. Versus the Bulldogs, and what they have is incredible depth. They have the chance to move their midfield around, change it if it's not working, and still rely on all Australian players to be representing their club at the bounce. Now, their big weakness, obviously, the ruckman. Stefan Martin, former of the Lions, has just come back from injury. They really thought Tim English. I can't believe how they haven't shown the confidence in Tim English as far as a ruckman goes, but Stefan Martin will be mostly rucking against Gawn. He's a bigger body. He can take on Gawn, but you've got to assume that Gawn's going to win 80 to 75%. I'm not making a lot there. I reckon at least 80% of the tap outs, because he's just that good. But look at that midfield. Look at those names. Marcus Bontempelli, probably the best player in the league at this second. Bailey Smith is probably, let's face it, the best finals player we've seen this season. Jack McRae is a ball magnet who racks up 40 possessions without even breaking a sweat. Then you've got Libba, who does exactly the same. And then your second tier midfield is Josh Dunkley and Adam Treloar. That right there is a star-studded, brilliant midfield who can compete with any other midfield in the entire comp. So while I think that as far as the best four in the mid goes, Melbourne has got the edge, I think their depth and their ability to change up that midfield and what it looks like goes down to the Bulldogs. With that being said, Luke Beveridge is a very smart coach. He's a very, very, very intelligent coach. And I can guarantee you that the Bulldogs will be rucking to Gawn. Simple as that. They're going to assume that Stefan Martin is probably not going to get the tap, and they're going to be following and assuming that Gawn's going to get that tap down. I reckon they've got something for him. I reckon they could very well tag Gawney. I don't know what's going to happen, but Luke Beveridge is a very good coach, and I feel like he's already thinking about, okay, how do we beat Max Gawn? Because in my opinion, Max Gawn is a big change here. Max Gawn 8 times out of 10, I guess 80%, 8 times out of 10 is going to put that ball into the hands of Oliver Petrarca-Ravani. That's just what's going to happen, which means Bulldogs are going to have to be on their toes, ready, jumping in there and having a good go at it. This one is called Redemption. Now, there's 2 redemption stories inside both of these games, and no matter who wins, let's face it, it is a nice story for both teams. The first one is Ben Brown from the Melbourne Demons. Obviously, he was the key forward for the North Melbourne Kangaroos for many, many years. He finished, I think, second and third consecutively for a couple of years in a row in the Coleman Medal. He had one off season in 2020, and that meant that he got absolutely dumped. His confidence was in the toilet, and North Melbourne was lowballing him, and he threw his name out there and went, okay, I can't deal with this. I need a new start, fresh start. Where am I going to go to? Melbourne said, come and join us, Benny. Let's have a good, fun time together. And now you've got yourself a chance of Ben Brown becoming a premiership player, something that, let's face it, he was never going to have that opportunity if he stayed at North Melbourne. On the other side of it, you've got Adam Treloar. Obviously, the Collingwood Magpie was there for about 4 years. He had that very famous when he's decided to leave the Giants. It was Richmond and it was Collingwood who was chasing him. And he said that he thinks that Collingwood has got the better list and is going to win a premiership before the Richmond Tigers. As a Tiger supporter myself, Adam, you were completely wrong on that. Would have welcomed you with open arms, though. You're an absolute gun. However, those 3 premierships were definitely won before Magpies are even close to it, and they're not vying anymore. However, Adam Treloar, once again, in the absolute mess up that was the Collingwood Football Club last year, the fire sale of some of their absolute best players, Adam Treloar got ousted by Buckley and Co. without even, I think he did he get it through a text message or something like that. Like that was the controversy. And he ended up being with the Bulldogs, which just added even more depth to their already stacked midfield. So again, two wonderful stories of redemption from two players who were ousted and rejected by their club to land at a new club and already having success. And playing in grand finals is great news for both of them. So either team that wins, there's a nice heartfelt story right there. All right, let's get to the it factors. Melbourne's it factor is Mr. Big Man himself, Maxi Gawn. He is the premier ruckman in the AFL. He does things that ruckman should not be able to do, and if you watch the prelim, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He absolutely ripped Geelong apart. Plain and simple, plain as day. Kicked, what, five goals? Was it 5 goals? And this guy is playing is the heartbeat of the Melbourne Football Club now. Nathan Jones has gone off. He's going to be with his wife with birth twins. He's going to ride off into the sunset as someone who is the heartbeat, which means Gawny is the captain. He is the one you look to for inspiration, and who can you look to better than Maxi Gawn? I think this is the it factor. I've said it before. I've said it again. 8 times out of 10, he's going to put the ball directly into the hands of Petrarca, Oliver, Ravini, and once they're in their hands, good luck getting it out of them. That's the big key here, which means Beveridge and the Bulldogs, that's fun to say, Beveridge and the Bulldogs, need to make sure they've got a game plan for Max Gawn, because Stefan Martin is not going to be able to touch him. Simple as that. He's not going to be able to. Stefan Martin's a big body. He's experienced in the ruck. He's come back at a good time. However, he's going to get outclassed, outplayed, outdestroyed, outrun, out everything by Maxi Gawn. So, he's just got to. I think the Bulldogs just have to play midfield and just assume that Gawn's going to win the ruck. Plain and simple. That just has to happen. I think that's the big it factor. I think Maxi Gawn, if the Melbourne is going to win this game, I think Maxi Gawn is the big key to that win. All right, the Bulldogs, Western Bulldogs, their it factor, Bailey Smith. My goodness, this guy has played a good final series, hasn't he? This guy has stepped up to another level. He's 22 years old, something crazy like that. He is built. You would have seen the now famous ice in the veins moment where he kicks the goal to take out to get him past Brisbane. It was just huge. And this guy is the it factor. You know, Bont is going to be turning up and ready to play. You know, McRae is going to be getting his 40 plus touches. He's going to get racking up that ball net. You know that about those players. Bailey Smith, however, he needs to fire. He needs to fire. Be that mid and small, hard running forward pressure and goal kicking that the Bulldogs need. I truly believe, as good as the Melbourne backline is, I think they're weak to good small forwards. There's been some small forwards who've kicked big goals on the Demons this year. I think like Eddie Betts kicked 5 goals against him and a number of other players. So I think that, if you to have a real chance at this for the Bulldogs to beat the Demons, and let's face it, the Bulldogs are coming in underdogs, pun there and intended, I guess. Bailey Smith has to fire. Has to fire. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Bulldogs bite and Bulldogs roar, taken from their theme song. They've done it their way. Travel, 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 and travel again. Look at this schedule that the Bulldogs have had to travel. Saturday, they've started from Melbourne, obviously. They've gone to Launceston in Tasmania to play Essendon in elimination final, destroyed the Bombers. Then they had to go up to Brisbane to play Brisbane in the next round. Just scraped by the Lions with some phenomenal individual efforts from players like Bailey Smith. Then they've flown to Perth to quarantine. They've then gone from Perth all the way down to Adelaide so they can play the Port Adelaide in their own home. They've destroyed them. I was going to say beaten. No, they embarrassed Port Adelaide in the Portra. Sorry, and now they've travelled all the way back to Perth, have to quarantine, and now they're finally resting in the state that they get to play the grand final in. This sounds like it should be a death nail for the Bulldogs, right? Melbourne is one of the hardest running teams in the AFL, probably first, and then Bulldogs are probably second. However, do they still have the legs after all this travel, after all this time? Do they still have the legs to continue? I think they do. This is what the Bulldogs bite and Bulldogs roar. They are a scrappy football team. This is how they won in 2016. They were on the road the entire time in 2016 until they finally got home to the MCG, until they finally got to the G and end up beating Sydney in 2016. This is the way the Dogs like it. Luke Beveridge loves the one against all sort of thing. He loves getting them G'd up to that one against all vibe and mentality. This is exactly what Luke Beveridge is going to be sitting there and telling his boys as they run out to the ground on tonight. He's going to be saying, we have done the hard yards. We have been the team that has had to go the hard way around. We deserve this grand final. We deserve this premiership. We are the underdogs, and let's show them exactly why we deserve to be the premiers. This travel, while it seems like could be a bad thing for the Bulldogs, I think with the Bullies, it actually works in their favour. Auld Acquaintance Be forgot. 57 years, people. How can you do a preview video of this game and not talk about how long it's been for Demon supporters between drinks? 57 years. This is a photo of the most recent premiership team for the Melbourne Demons. 1964. You can see the great legendary Ron Barassi accepting the premiership cup on the right-hand side of the screen. This is, look at that. 57 years Demon fans have had to look and watch. In 2016, the fairy tale was the Bulldogs. They broke the drought. In 2017, it was the Tigers. They broke the drought. Is it time for the Demons to break that drought? They are carrying the hearts, the souls, the love, the pressure, the expectation, everything from these Demons supporters, these thirsty, hungry, desperate Demon supporters, and it's time to bring that cup home is what they're screaming at their football club. Maxi Gawn is not going to die trying. Maxi Gawn is not going to give up. Christian Petrarca, Clayton Oliver, Jack Viney, Stephen May, these players, the entire team, they're not going to give up. They understand what this means to the football club. This understands what it means to supporters. They understand the pain and the laughing stock that the Melbourne Football Club has been for so many years. They've watched the Bulldogs do it. They've watched the Tigers do it. And now it is finally the Demons' time to have a go. Demon supporters, you can have an impact here. 57 years. 57 years. These are my 5 predictions of what I think is going to happen in the grand final tonight. Number 1, at least one player will get 40 or more touches in the game. The record for a grand final is 39 touches, by the way, by Simon Black back when the Lions were doing their three-peat, of course. My bet would be someone like probably McRae would even in a losing team. I think McRae would probably be able to rack up 40 touches. But like Clayton Oliver's a ball magnet. Bont, Libba, McRae. There's so many players in these football clubs who get multiple big-time touches, and I think that this is the one. We finally get a record of the most touches in, most touches in a grand final. Number 2, there will be only single digits in the difference at the end. Less than 9 points. 9 or less points will decide this game. It is going to be a cracking of a match between two hard-fought, hard-running, hard football teams, and I'm so excited to watch this, especially after 2 very disappointing prelims of just watching 2 teams get smacked. 2 training runs, let's face it. So I'm excited to see 9 or less points in the end to go down to the absolute wire. Number 3, Gawn and Cody Waitman will kick 2+ goals each. That's my prediction. Maxi Gawn will get 2 goals plus, and Cody Waitman will get 2 goals plus after coming back from the concussion that is. Here's a number 4 prediction. This could be a bit of a strange one. I predict at some point the Bulldogs will put a midfielder, an undersized midfielder, up against Gawn in the ruck. I reckon they might pull something like the Tigers did back in 2017 with Sean Grigg. And I reckon they'll put that because they'll just accept the loss You accept the loss in the ruck, and you have the extra mid, you have the extra small in there. I reckon at some point, they're going to try that. What do you reckon? It's a good time to try it, Luke. It's a good time to try it. If it's not working, I believe Luke Beveridge will throw everything, the kitchen sink and the entire house, out to try to win this match. Number 5, Adam Treloar will recry regardless of the result. It's a little bit of a fun one. If you remember Treloar losing, the Pies losing and Treloar being emotional, I think Adam Treloar will cry regardless of the result. Whether win or lose, I reckon we're going to see some waterworks from Mr. Treloar, which is perfectly normal. I'm not judging here. Crying is perfectly wonderful way to express your emotions. But I think that's going to happen. Finally, my tip. I think the 57-year drought is coming to an end. Melbourne Demons have been the best team this season, and I don't see Maxi Gawn letting this one go. I really, truly believe, you can see right there, Norma Smith, Max Gawn. I don't think Maxi Gawn is going to let this one slide. He's worked too hard for too long in a very, very, very average team to finally have a chance at the big one, and I think this is it. That being said, I can also see the Bulldogs winning. I really think this is going to be a classic grand final. Huge one, huge game out in Perth. I can't wait to get into it, and let's get that done. But what do you think? Put your predictions, put your ideas, put everything into the comments section of this video. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. I hope you enjoy the grand final. I hope it's an absolute cracker. All I really want as a non-Demon or Bulldog supporter is just a cracking close match that I can get excited about and ride all the way through to the end. And then, of course, at the end, I feel like the team who was best comes out on top. Oh, you gotta love grand final day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, please make sure you like and comment down below if you're new to the channel. And you haven't subscribed yet, let's consider maybe hitting that bell icon and coming along with me on my YouTube journey. I've got plenty more content in the future, and we still be doing some footy stuff as over the off season, of course. But apart from all that, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, being amazing, and as always, I will see you in the next one.